What if you made one of the most important medical discoveries of all time, and instead of being celebrated as a hero, you were ridiculed, fired, and thrown into an asylum? This isn't a work of fiction. It's the tragic, true story of Dr. Ignaz Semmelweis, the man who became known as the savior of mothers. Welcome to InfoBite Hub, where we explore the origin of everything. Today, we're telling the story of Dr. Semmelweis, the forgotten father of hand hygiene, and his battle against a deadly, invisible enemy. Our story begins in the 1840s at the Vienna General Hospital. The hospital had two maternity wards, but one of them held a terrifying secret. The first ward, staffed by doctors and their medical students, had a shockingly high death rate. New mothers were perishing from a mysterious illness called puerperal fever, or childbed fever. In some months, as many as 1 in 3 women who gave birth there would die. Meanwhile, the second ward, run exclusively by midwives, was dramatically safer. Mothers there had a much higher chance of survival. The medical community was baffled. They blamed everything from the weather to miasma or bad air. But no one could solve the deadly puzzle. Enter a young, Hungarian doctor named Ignaz Semmelweis. Working in the first ward, he was horrified by the constant stream of deaths. He became consumed, almost obsessed, with finding the cause. He meticulously documented everything. He compared the two wards, looking at every possible difference. Was it the way the mothers were positioned during birth? Was it the religious rituals performed for the dying? He systematically tested and eliminated every theory, but the deaths continued. He was getting desperate, watching mothers who had just experienced the joy of childbirth succumb to this terrible fever. Then, a tragedy provided the crucial clue. One of Semmelweis's colleagues and close friends, a pathologist, accidentally cut his finger with a scalpel while performing an autopsy on a woman who had died from childbed fever. Days later, his friend fell gravely ill and died, displaying the exact same symptoms as the mothers. This was Semmelweis's aha moment, a shocking, horrifying realization. He connected the dots. What was the biggest difference between the doctor's ward and the midwife's ward? The doctors and their students would often start their days in the autopsy room, examining corpses. Then, they would go straight to the maternity ward to examine pregnant women and deliver babies. The midwives, on the other hand, never performed autopsies. Semmelweis hypothesized that the doctors were carrying unseen cadaverous particles from the dead bodies on their unwashed hands and transferring them to the new mothers during childbirth. It was a groundbreaking, yet deeply unsettling, idea. He immediately implemented a new, strict policy. Every doctor and student entering his maternity ward had to wash their hands thoroughly in a solution of chlorinated lime, a powerful disinfectant that could remove the putrid smell of the morgue. The results were instantaneous and nothing short of miraculous. The death rate in his ward plummeted by 90%, dropping to the same safe levels as the midwives' clinic. He had found the cure. He had saved countless lives. But the story doesn't end there. You'd think the medical world would hail him as a genius. Instead, they were insulted. The established doctors of the era were considered gentlemen. The suggestion that their own hands were unclean and causing the deaths of their patients was a direct attack on their honor and status. They mocked Semmelweis's theory, calling it unscientific and ridiculous. They couldn't see the germs he described, so they refused to believe they existed. Despite his undeniable proof, the medical community actively resisted his findings. They forced him out of his job, ruined his career, and drove him from Vienna. Ignaz Semmelweis died a broken man at just 47, committed to an asylum, never receiving recognition for the very discovery that would later become a cornerstone of modern medicine and save millions of lives. His story is a powerful and sobering reminder that genius is often rejected before it is celebrated, and that sometimes, the simplest ideas can be the most revolutionary. Thanks for watching InfoBite Hub. If you were moved by this story, please give this video a like. Comment below with your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe for more eye-opening content every Wednesday and Sunday. We'll see you in the next one.